Hey, John Fredericks Radio Network. Erika Donald's joining us now. Erika, great to have you on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
Thanks so much for having me.
Erika, thanks for being with us. I know you're pressed for time. We got a couple of minutes. Tell me a little about what you do and how this economy has changed some of the things you're doing in your business.
Well, I'm based out of Florida, and I actually have a business called the Optima Foundation that runs the business side of charter schools in Florida. We know that charter schools, and I'm a big proponent of school choice, are a wonderful way for parents to have options outside of their zip code, outside of their zone school. However, they are multi-million-dollar organizations, and these wonderful educators that start these schools and want to succeed in them need a little bit of help from us CPA types who can help them with the business side, compliance, and government regulation that goes along with running public schools.
Erika, let me just ask you something straight out. When you look at charter schools, obviously these are private profit-making enterprises. They're also done in conjunction with various rules and regulations from their county school boards, of which you are a member. So I got a couple questions to ask, and then I'm going to get to more of the business of it, okay? Question number one, if you go to proprietary business schools in the U.S., post-secondary, there has been scandal after scandal after scandal with student loans, Pell Grants, you name it. Many of them have been put out of business. Reagan started the crackdown back in the day, and we got so many of these proprietary business schools, profit-making, that have been run out of business because of fraud, mismanagement of funds, and stuff of that nature. How do you stop that culture that was in post-secondary proprietary schools from infecting charter schools that are not post-secondary?
That's a great question, and actually this is a misconception a lot of people have about charter schools. The vast majority of charter schools in our country are run by nonprofit organizations. Even many of the very large charter school organizations that people might be familiar with, Charter Schools USA, Success Academies, Great Hearts, these are all nonprofit organizations that are running these charter schools. So the for-profit charter school kind of myth, and I'm sorry, Charter Schools USA actually is for-profit, but many of the larger ones, and again, the majority of charter school organizations in our country are nonprofit. So I think that trend, what happened in the higher education, has already made its way through into the charter school arena, and there has been that kind of peer pressure and the pressure from donors and the market itself for this to remain a mostly nonprofit industry. And I will tell you, it's very difficult for profit making in the charter school space. Most charter schools are going into very low income areas and serving high need students. And because charter schools have lower funding than traditional public schools, in Florida, that's about 20 to 30% lower funding. It's very difficult to meet those students' needs in a for-profit environment. You really have to take donations and supplement the state funding in order to meet those students' needs.
Now, you served for a long time on the Collier County School Board in Florida, which I thought gave you unique experience for what you're doing now. Why did you decide not to run for re-election?
Well, I am, as I said, a CPA. I came into the Collier County School Board feeling like, the district, which is a $1 billion budget, needed an infusion of business minds. As many school boards, our board was run by former teachers and administrators, and I came on the board, and out of 5 people, I was one of just 2 that kind of had the same mindset of increasing efficiencies, making the district more accountable to student performance. So unfortunately, for the 4 years that I was on the board, I was on the losing side of a lot of votes. In fact, the majority of the votes that I took, I was on the losing side of. And so I didn't think that was the best use of my time and resources going forward. I would like to still see those same changes in public education in Florida and across the country, but I'm contributing to that by increasing competition through the proliferation of more high-quality charter schools in my state, advocating for more school choice at the state level, and I think that's what helps put the pressure on our local school districts to be more efficient and be more accountable to their performance.
Is the fight in Florida right now, as it is in many states, for charter school money following the student?
It is, and not just charter school money, but Florida has made a big push to increase private school choice as well. We passed a Family Opportunity Scholarship last session, which allows low-income families to take the money that would otherwise go to the traditional public school and choose the private school that they think is going to best meet their students' needs. Those of us who are advocates for school choice really want to see those types of programs expanded so that families can choose either a public school, a charter school, or a private school. And we think that that will increase the free market and the quality of all schools and help every family to be able to choose the best education environment for their child.
Many minority families under the poverty level are trapped in not underperforming school system that they can't get out of. They don't have the resources to go to a private school or a Catholic school like, say, my children did, right? So I sent my kids to Catholic school because I didn't like the public school system that was around me. So we had the option to drive them to school and figure out how to pay for tuition. A lot of one-parent, poor families that are trapped in failing school systems don't have that option. They're simply stuck there. And so charter schools is an avenue out for them. I for the life of me, Erika, and I've only got a couple minutes because you're a little bit late getting on. For the life of me, I can't figure out why people in those districts wouldn't be clamoring for more charter schools, which gives their kids options to get out of a bad school situation.
Well, we know that the teachers union, which is very powerful politically, puts pressure on the Democrats primarily to vote against charter schools because they don't want competition and they don't want the proliferation of schools that are not required to be unionized. However, in Florida, that Family Opportunity Scholarship that I mentioned, which targets low-income families, and right now our tax credit scholarship serves over 100,000 low-income families, and this adds 18,000 to that mix, gives them those options. 5 Democrats in the Florida House